I want to know what really your family business is and how you started to do that.
Okay. My wife and I run an executive recruiting firm, and we have a specialized niche. We only work with companies that manufacture food or food ingredients. And we place candidates that are in a technical capacity of some sort, scientists, engineers. We place operations management people from mostly like plant manager and above. And then we also place executives. I've placed some CEOs. And really sort of fell into that business a long time ago. I was out of college a few years and was looking to make a career change, and I saw this ad that was just it was a little vague, but it caught my attention.
Sure.
And I went and interviewed, and it turned out that it was a recruiting firm. And maybe later I can explain a little more about what that means, because not everybody is familiar with that.
Sure.
But at any rate, after a number of interviews, I got hired there. And at that time, I was working in a different specialty niche with chemical engineers. And a few years after I had been there, that they hired Maureen, who ultimately became my wife. So we first met by working together.
Really?
So we've always worked
cool.
together. That's the only relationship we've ever known.
Sure.
So then when, we ultimately dated a while and got married and started a family, and trying to do the commute and daycare and everything doesn't really work out that well.
Sure.
So Maureen actually started the business at home in a little room a little bit bigger than this table. And a few months later, I quit and came home, and we've been working together since. That was in 1990.
Okay.
So
you guys have been at this for 30 years.
Yeah.
What about the recruiting business do you feel like you and your wife have figured out to be able to do it for this long? What skills do you need to be a recruiter?
Well, you kind of have to be a detective. You have to be a psychologist.
Sure. You gotta know people.
You have to be a salesman. It's all of those skills. I mean, honestly, first of all, when I first started in the business, I didn't really completely realize I was going to be a salesman, because I never really thought about a career in sales.
Sure.
But after a while, it became pretty crystal clear that clearly I was in a sales business. And, the kinds of people that we place are college-educated professionals. Most of them are married with a family. They own a house. And the reason all that stuff matters is that very often, most of the placements that we make require relocation.
Okay.
The food industry is very widespread. We work nationwide, and have all along.
Due to the position that your people are getting, it would require them to...
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the kind of, when you're a vice president of operations for a food manufacturer, you don't just walk down the street and get a new job unless
Right.
you happen to be somewhere like Chicago.
Okay.
Or, in the sort of New York, New Jersey area, there's a lot of food companies. But particularly if these jobs are at food plants, they tend to be in rural or more rural areas. But at any rate, getting back to my point, that this is a huge decision for people. And
Sure.
so it's a very, very complicated transaction. So that's why there's so much psychology and what have you involved. And really what we're basically in the business of is helping people realize what they really want and help them get it. Both the companies and the individuals, because there's never a perfect match.
Sure.
There's always some sort of compromise, and you got to help people get through all of that.